然后刚才先别洗这些第一个人就我做是吧？就是今天是然后就先别洗这些在于个主要的就是把所谓三个lama公开宁波些的可能了就是准备写些就是准备样个先把洗这送完了吧？你送去你嘛就是找把解释些的，就是找把解释，但是就是找把解释些的那么在三个公开宁波给写的不如个多写的你嘛简单的就得然后就了就是找把解释送些给但你嘛你们些那些。那是有公开宁波嘛，就是找把解释可能给，但我就是嘛，告诉我个什么细节的嘛，这个什么点这些嘛，送些不只要当点，这个团的送些别的，我就的看上这个学习，学说。
Good morning. So last night we started to look at this text, parting from the four clingings. And we mentioned that the lineage from which this text has come to us started with a great practitioner called, generally known as the great Sakyapa, whose name was Kunga Ningpo. So Kunga Ningpo was the founder of the Sakya lineage. When he was a child of just 12 years old, he was engaged in retreat on Manjushri. And nearing the end of this retreat, he gained a direct vision of Manjushri, who then taught to him the four lines which became known as parting from the four clingings. So this text that we are studying, it originated from the mouth of Manjushri himself and was imparted to the great Sakya Lama Kunga Ningpo. Yeah, Kunga Ningpo. Then one of Kunga Ningpo, when he grew up, he had some children, and one of his children was the author of the commentary to the parting from the four clingings, and this is Drakpa Gyaltsen. So, and then passing on from Drakpa Gyaltsen through his lineage of students to the present day, which is more than 800 years later, we come to study his commentary to the root text, which was composed by Manjushri himself. And these, the four clingings themselves, are what we have in the commentary in the third verse. So this is where we started last night.
那先把西地开始了，那这地来先把些这些，告诉我来考完了，先把些这二节，让对大对来先把些的送节，真把些的真把中啊些的真把中啊些的，真把主把真把些的，的那个真把些的，第十步的啦先把西些回来，就是那先把西。西云山连那个先把西波的，那个怕帮过的，在当查过的也是的，那先把西当查哇，是这个路啊。
What are then these four objects that the mind clings to? So we see here in the third verse, it's clinging to this one mere life. It's clinging to samsara in its entirety. It's clinging to samsara, and thirdly, it's clinging to one's own self-interest, one's own self-interest, selfish motivation. And thirdly, it's clinging in the sense of grasping at phenomena as existing in the way that they appear. In other words, true grasping. So these are the four clingings that need to be abandoned, or as we have in the title of the text, parted from or separated from.
彻底来先把些的彻底来先把那样的彻底的彻底怎么的主要的彻底怎么东啊些个东的三当的了彻底来先把些大地先把地要把那的那个先把去要把那的那个三当有团呢这个彻底了去人家给我开始跟主办人那样那就给我的告诉我，什么电视大家给我主办呢？去那么大车给我买的也是，就像给我穷于去啊，车给买的， Kebu Jingi Chuan, Drutuk Mare, Kebu Chimbu Chuan, Drutuk Mares, Meva Drutuk Meva, Disamno Dipa, Dores, or rather Cedella, Cedigi, Tiki Zamna, Cedigi, Tiki Juviata, Cedizam Duma Sega, Dona Sam Tabana, Kebu Chumi Chuan, Yamna Jetu Mare, Kebu Jingi Chuan, Yamna Jetu Mare, Kebu Chimbu Chuan, Yamna Jetu Mare, Disamno Pador, such as a Shemba sheet, Chow Horesidu, Chow Horesidu, Measo Horesigua. Dinajing and the Kowal Pat Beg, Yabura, some Kowal about Deva, which Korvigi Chelia, Deva Della Dunya Chibuch Chetebana, Kowal Gyunton to Mares, Kowal Gyunton Mares, Korvigi Che de Yundan Tombana, Yundan Tadubana, Delia, and Kori Gyunton Mares, Kori Gyun Madonna, and Kowale. Bendigo Kori Chile, Kowal Shembalan, Kori comes from Kori Chig, Yundan Dachi Delia, and Zinduba the Sigurua. Dene Zindubaina, Kori Gyun Tonto Mare, Kori Gyun Matona, Kowala Tarduga Samba Gigamar, Dene Yijun Getu Mares, said Jeza Denisa, Kowalia, and the Jiki Kori Chu, and then bed Zimbadi, Power Dorjene, Kowalia Gyun Diada, and Gyun Kori Chile, Gyun Diet Jamu Resach, Odi Jena. Coalition, Shempade, Dorgures, Atisha, Shempa Chase. That Daudun Lations, the Rangdun Janja, some Tatuba, Rangdun Janja, some Tatubaina, then Jamiji Kitu Mare, then Janjusem Kitu Mares, since I didn't the Tabatimation Yam and Titu Mares. Then in the Rangdun Janja, some of the part Dorjene, Jending Chidu, some Tangures, tis a Dorgures at Chixua. The Zimba Juna, Zimba than Jagures, Zimba said. Nga sever hashing tuba ziba nga demba tuba zibita denzin dipe demba tuba resam shukchi mo zindu baina dene dongbani to tu mares dongbani ma to baina donye tuba tawa de mache baina dene kowal jo tu mare tharba da tamji kimba ko ba tu mares ma to baina nyomo ba pa tu mares dene inza kowa kasa nga sever hashing tuba da tu tuba zimba da denzin demba tuba zimba di pa panggo res ja ho res Jazz at Bango, Sigurva, and Dandala, Chimba Shijas at Disigurvada.
Last night we also then went through briefly what each of these four clingings mean. So particularly when we talk about clinging to this mere life, clinging to this one life, this refers in particular to one's mind being dominated by the wish to achieve happiness of this one life, and one's mind being dominated by the wish to be freed from suffering experiences of this one life. So if one is clinging to the attainment of happiness that is experienced in this mere life, in this one life, as well as one's mind is clinging to the wish to be freed of the sufferings and difficulties of this one life, then having such an outlook, whatever virtuous activities one engages in, these cannot be included amongst the Dharma. And this is because they do not fall into any one of the varying capacities or scopes. Such activities, when motivated just to experience happiness in this life, just to overcome the problems of this life, those activities are not included in the scope of even the being of smallest capacity who's striving to attain a good rebirth. So therefore, for this reason, we need to abandon clinging to this mere life. So that is the first of the four clingings. The second then is related to clinging to cyclic existence in its entirety. So this means that one still holds the belief that there is happiness to look forward to in samsara, that a samsaric being one can attain a state within samsara that is worthy of striving for. And when one sees that there is happiness that's worthy of striving for within samsara, one will not be able to generate a wish to be freed of cyclic existence. And without this wish to be freed of samsara, one will not be striving for liberation. And therefore, the mind of definite emergence cannot be generated. So that is the fault of clinging to samsara. And one needs then to train in meditating, train in seeing the faults of cyclic existence, seeing how cyclic existence is pervaded by suffering. So that then is the second of the four clingings. The third then, this is where one is clinging to one's own self-interest. And clinging to one's own self-interest means that one's dominated by thoughts relating to oneself. And having such an outlook is, of course, completely contrary to the mind of bodhicitta. So if one is clinging to one's own self-interest, the mind of bodhicitta cannot be generated. And therefore we need to train in cultivating the other cherishing mind, the mind that has as its sincere objective to achieve the welfare of others. And then the fourth clinging refers to clinging at inherent existence or true existence, clinging to the self as being truly existent, as phenomena as being truly existent. And with such an attitude, such a clinging, then it is not possible to realize emptiness. And if one cannot realize emptiness, one cannot attain liberation from suffering. One cannot attain enlightenment. So therefore, one needs to cultivate the wisdom realizing emptiness so as to overcome this mind of self-grasping or self-clinging.
Digi Juviadan, Digi Dumase, sometimes around Jugi, and then Garishikoresene, and the Jiggy, you maybe Chapake, the Uding Alco to sit Chapake, di Wange, Udi Raga, Dondalia, and Jugi, and the Jig Gabriel and Kuma Kuro, Kuma Kuya down, and the Jiggy Jackson share down, and the Jiggy meter Troya La Soba down, and the Jig and the need honor. 先那个那边个东汉蒙我就刚刚我是先那边叫蒙我去，那你个那俺做了让先你个了呀，买几个菜的，俺这个的那个阶段差别忘记，的那个连俺把啥，的那俺做呀，俺叫我去买那呀东汉娘呀个就差过来，那俺这个才得来先把得了，大概这才得来先别个是的拿了送用的，但怕野话现在蒙古多变得差别忘记先把，俺这。 Digi Dunga Seada, Digi Dunga Sealia, and Digi Nalia, Topa, Dinga, Nursa, Digi Nugudus, and Delia, Java Tuce, Della Magawache, the new one, Contrake, then the Contro Wangi, and Della Nevakiata, and Jig, Undusine, and Jig Setela Shempi, Wangi, Rangi. Dunga Seagi Dondala, Ding Ala Nursa, some Ding Alia, Duja Chigos, and Nerd, Delia Contraki. Chisada, so Sugi Dingi Jahoresha, Ding Alia, Nugu said Paconrola, Denia, and Jig Lunga Gibi Tone, never Monguski, did on air, Mazuli Dipachimosaya, Denegi, and then Mansaki, Cusagores, Deniza Koale Shemba City, Dushaki, and Kori Yula. 先把戒当，空着戒呢，先把戒当，等那样俺戒呢，先把戒当，就算得先把晒的了，的那个是长马拉用过了的。
And last night, not only did we briefly cover these four clingings that one needs to part from, but then we started to look in some detail at the clinging to this life. So again, the meaning of this means that one's way of thinking, one's mind, is dominated by wishes to achieve happiness to be experienced in this one life. One's mind is dominated by the companion thought to be separated from suffering in this one life. And so here, one needs to be able to, firstly, to be able to abandon the clinging to this life, one has to first recognize the faults of clinging to this one life. So here we come to understand that through clinging to the achievement of happiness and the elimination of suffering in this one life, that thought leads to primarily the arisal of attachment. So attachment, being attached to various objects, being attached to achieving one's objectives for this life. So whether it's a material object, whether it's a goal, whether it's having things go in accordance with one's own wishes. So these would be the objects for the mind of attachment. And then being attached to achieving, for example, one's own wishes in this life, then one, due to this motivation of attachment, one engages in a variety of activities to achieve that. And these will include deceiving others, taking advantage of others, stealing, killing, and so forth. And in this way, when we start to reflect in this way, we come to see how clinging to the happiness and freedom of suffering in this one mere life leads to the arisal of afflictions such as attachment. And from this, we engage in non-virtuous activity. And then through this continuity of activity, we see how we create suffering conditions that will be experienced in this very life, through bringing harm to others, through destroying our relationships with others, as well as creating the causes that will result in suffering from life to life as well. So we come to see that with this process of clinging to this one life, then a mind, in particular the mind of attachment, arises, and this only leads to suffering that's experienced by ourselves and others in this and future lives. So clinging here refers to specifically to clinging to this life. But when we look at it in more detail, we see that the mind that is the mind of clinging clings to other afflictions, such as clinging to attachment, clinging to anger, clinging to pride. So we come to see this as we look at the meaning of clinging in subtler levels. We see that we cling to various afflictions as well, and this comes about through this clinging or this wish to achieve happiness in this life. Then attachment comes, which we cling to. Anger comes, and we justify our anger. We cling to it. Pride comes, and we justify our pride, clinging to it. We need to gain absolute certainty that these afflictions only lead to suffering, both physical and mental, and they lead to suffering for ourselves and others. And they lead to suffering in this life and our future lives. And it's this process that comes from clinging that leads to all these afflictions, an accumulation of causes that result in rebirth in the lower realms. And in dependence on our interaction with others, they respond in a similar manner, and they too end up creating causes for suffering. They too end up accumulating causes that lead to lower realm rebirth. So this is the meditation process that we need to go through to see the grave faults of clinging to this life.
ngā 저기 ane 저기 점리 파소 마로게 당 ane 저 초보하나라 미팅바 차야로 당 초보게라 소바다 자산디로 바다 진짜 소소게 되바디 마르드 세디게 소소게 디기 주야에 되바디 쉬어래 디 마르드 ane 지샹야 녀라시야다 강아제야 디토는 녀라 용거로 엔디점에 병아 저기다 레가로 가르체베네 나 저기 세디게 동아 자야동야다 두오 고야다 ane 고야다 도고에 통다 되네게 삼다생을 좀 망치로지 디도나리아 맞게 체디게 동아세야다 체디게 디게주야 체디게 사야동야 강아 체기를 선비게 저도 그래 캬기를 선비 디동아세게 돈달랑하는 저기 지게 탑시 벤처 탑시야다 차사 데네 지고로 와 제가 데네기 현재 체디점을 삼다제 두스 지고를 망쳐로 지금 데네 지고로 와
In this meditation process, we need to look at our own experience to see how this desire for happiness and to be freed of problems in this life really dominates our way of thinking. And we also, in conjunction with this, look at how this way of thinking impacts on the world around us and how it leads most people's activities. And when we see warfare between nations or acts of terrorism or civil war, This all comes about for the desire for happiness in this one life, desire to be freed of problems in this one life. And then on a more local level, where there's conflict between groups, or conflict between acquaintances, or disharmony, all of these problems comes from a wish for happiness in this one life, comes about through clinging to this one life. And then if we take it on a very personal level, and we look at our desire to experience sense pleasures, whether it's delicious food or nice clothing, this way of thinking is a way of thinking that is dominated by achieving happiness in this one life, being separated from difficulties in this one life. So what we're needing to do here is have a close and an honest look at our own way of thinking, our own motivating minds that motivate our actions.
안가도 디기 고루한 세델야 최지긴 세대 즉 소소 강아 가제나 강아 세다 마제 소술리안에 지기 세디기 디기 주야게 탑람 안에 사야동야다 둘로다 데네기 제리 마제네 데네 소수게 내나서도 세야게 탑시 만지 마제베네 아니 용라기도 왔는데 제가 최지기에서 데디 차사도 세네 르다 샤바네 아니 강아 레도 와데 지기 민도 선비게 삼도 용시기로 와.
On this topic, it's very possible that one may misunderstand what is meant here, because on a superficial level, if one says, "Oh, I must stop clinging to this life, and I should only be engaging in activities for future lives," then I shouldn't go to work. I shouldn't eat. I shouldn't ensure that I have clothing. These things are all about this life, they're not important. I'm being advised here to abandon this all. So it is very possible, if one's understanding is mistaken, that one will think in this way.
This idea, that is not the Nigi, Sidi, Shemba, the Dogore, the Notre said, is not Dondala Karasungore. Sedizamgi denegi sosuge dunga seata and digi tuya chevaina denegi dosos digi tubures or sedigida sede dizamgi to penjo sayada dunga chekala sayatuya da denetigi to pengores sedela pengor digi pengores sedige kanga sea danga topishevena sedela pengores ina anzo samoti kiwa chima sammadamache denegyan jedevena and azugi Kewa Chimagi Peg Kewa di Tuguo Mares. The Nizam Nanzo Dade Denation to Pink Kangaya Ligor to Sosu Dunga Sea, the Digi Sayatuya, and Tisu to Sosu Jotoya Kanga Sea, and Nena Se Kanga Sea, and Susu Kabi Kanga Sea, Pingor de Inea, Kewa Chima, and another Pingo Mares, Digi, Kewa Chima some Madavina. And Jawachima Pingal. Just like Jawachima Ping in the Karasena, Jawachima and Dunya Sambigi and Kasore, Geshe to be at it, Gawadimato, Geshe to Pingur Mato, and then I get Sedelia, Pinjo Gaze, Savane, Damyada Chimokaze, Yovena, and the Jawachima Pentumares. She's a Dineza Digi. Nubal Mason Chunju Omar, Chunju Mado Yomares or Donda Carson was a Dinig City Yang, sometimes Legutun, Dinig Donda Chunju Mado to Gomares, Tileva, some of the Geshe Thubten Rabten, Chimigi Donda, and Tarbada Tamji Kimbo, Kuno, Dinis Keji, Jawa Duena, and the Geshe Yungor, stable Mason, the Nubache Yungor.
Because of the likely misunderstanding here, especially when one thinks about how one does go about one's daily activities and how one will need to continue to go about one's daily activities, it's important to understand this point clearly. So, we do need to engage in activities which have results to be experienced in this life. For example, we need to prepare food and eat it in order to sustain our life. We do need to clothe ourselves, have a home to live in, and so forth. So we do need to engage in activities that sustain this life. But if one's way of thinking, one's motivation, one's intention for engaging in these activities is to experience the result merely for this life, then whatever virtuous activities one does engage in, whilst they do lead to the accumulation of virtue, this is very weak. This is very weak. And likewise with the elimination of problems. So when we're hungry, we need to eat. If we are ill, we need to seek a medical treatment and follow the advice that we are given. But again, if our way of thinking, our motivation is merely about achieving a result in this life, then any virtuous activity we engage in is only going to lead to such a result. It's not going to lead to a greater result of a good rebirth in future lives, good conditions in future lives, and so forth. So what we're talking about here is not primarily a changing of outer activities, but a changing of the motivating mind, changing of the intention behind one's action, changing our way of thinking. So that is what is being explicitly referred to here.
And di tone an ngaju pemba tuyala ya an so sugi shenle pemba tubala so sugi lu so go lu ya wo chu go ne na zme lu tang bu chu go de jiza ne ne yin za di don da le ya ngaju ge do we ze ya dang ngaju tuya de re an di men be ge dang ngaju shenle pemba tubala ngaju ge sem tangbo de sem kiwu chu go sem so sem kyo da sem bu so bo na chen la pembegi truptuya yo mare chizan shengi dondala sosuranange jawa kechi mu truptu mare dine yenza sosuge shenlia pemba tuya dondala ya aningi chike sosuranange digi tuya re ane sosurage kanga seya re di tone rangdang shen chasange dunga seya da kanga seya le beshu shiguye sembi kunloro dine kieje chizan sosuge dogoye seya da nga zuge benjo top시 제바이네 아다 니 베주 top시 소소라라 디기 참 많이 바체 심지어 남지기 돈달이 인선비게 페비 주야 될 돈달이 인선비 참 다쟁어 주 주제바이나 니네 파연 디 아나 저게 소수길 체디기 디기야 주고래 동아 세고래 안데니 제바이나 아니 개와치마 다는 가서 탈바다 탐지기 먹고 봐도 귀야 사고래스 디네 참 다쟁어 주 레가레바이나 아니 단다 셰주고 레제레
Again, what is being spoken about here is a need to transform our motivation. So let's say one has generated a motivation of bodhicitta. And with such a motivation, then one is committed to strive for the sake of others to achieve enlightenment. And such a commitment would pervade one's every activity. And this is because the power of bodhicitta would ensure that everything one physically does, all our verbal communication, and every thought is conjoined with this mind of bodhicitta. And in order to be able to fulfill the aspirations of a bodhisattva, a physical basis, this body, needs to be healthy. It needs to be strong. Moreover, our mind needs to be open and spacious, and our mind needs to be open and spacious. So without this basis of good health and an open and spacious mind, it becomes very difficult to actually strive for the welfare of others. So if we have generated a motivation such as that of bodhicitta, we will want to look after our body. We will want to ensure that we have the required material resources so that we can work for the welfare of others. And then then when we engage in what appears to be very mundane activities, such as eating or going to work, we will do so with a motivation, a genuine motivation of bodhicitta, that I need to engage in these activities so that I have the resources and the opportunities I need to be able to benefit others. And so here, what hopefully is being clear is what is not necessarily changing is the outer activities, but it's the motivation that is being transformed. And if one then has such a skillful understanding, then whatever one engages in, this leads to accumulation of karma. These causes then become causes for good rebirth, that become causes for liberation, that become causes for enlightenment. And this all comes about through the transformation of one's motivation.
Adina Shin, Dang to Gewa Chima, some Dache, Gewa Chima, that Nason make Gewa Chew, the Nason de la Takudu, Chisandi Tari Dondalia, Nikulon Dinji, Di Dondalia, and Anasuki, Geshe Thubten and Geshe Thubten some diet, and the Nigatolia, Soso Geshe Thubten, and the Lutin Digi, and Jigawash Kugore, Nenasa, Machuash Kugore, Nenasuna, the Geshe Thubten Mare, Tuya Chagoma, the Nenza, Di Dondal, the Nigga some Dache, Sosugi, Cetigi, Dunga Seata, and the Digi Tuya La Sobata, and the next Sambaina, and Cetigi Lulia, Tsubi Dondalia, and Jigi Sayatoya, the Nick Chabene, called Lugi. And the Niki Dona, and so Dunga Gama, that Dunga Gama Chibuena, Sedilia Gewa to Gewa Chimi Dondalia, and Dunga Sola Taya Dondala Gewa to Tumarwa, Tumadova Zan Seti Dunga Sea, Tishaza, the Nis, Kunodelia, Gewa Chima, and Sola the Takudu, Sembege. Tarn had a milk much talk to some of these dache, Manso Setiliane, Geshe Thubten, Susuki, Dunga Seata, and Susuki Gangar, Dike Seata, Digi Thubten, the Niki Besu Shevaina, and then the zone Nubache, your Gewa Chimala Pandoya, Geshe Chago Regere. The names that Unit Sedelia, Jake, Digi said, Digi said, Dumagi said, and Digi Duagala, Jawagune, Bezujune, Machi, Lago, Marjo, that Sedila, Shambalu, Tangus, and Sedi, Digi Duadan, Sedi, Duma said, Gune, Samatagio, Maradilago, Marwada, Dondala, Carson, Guno, de la Gewachimang, Hanson, de la Targodus, Di Target Tarvala, and the Geju Dugodus. Geshe Thubten, Chisan Geshe Thubten, Sosuki Tian Yakosh Kugore, Lutin as said, Chizakanga, Dunga Yuna, Dunga Seada, Digi Thubten, Digi Yuna, Sosuki Tuguro, and Denisine, some Danchik Tugore said. Deni Zada, Denishavan, Sedelia, Digi Thubten, Sit Dunga Sea, and Sechimal Pen, Geshe Thubten, and Yabucha Gore said, you could not do some Dangore said, Dona Disungua.
It's important that this point is really understood clearly. Because if you leave here with a clear understanding, then you'll be able to apply it in your meditations and transform one's way of engaging in the world. So let's say one has meditated on the sufferings of the lower realms and given rise to a genuine wish not to be born in those lower realms, to ensure that in our future lives we do not fall into any of the lower realms. Then with such a motivation, this is a motivation then beyond this one mere life. It's a motivation thinking of our future lives. So with such a motivation then, one knows that one has to accumulate specific causes that will ensure that one does not fall into the lower realms, but attains a good rebirth in our future lives. And in following from that understanding of the need to accumulate specific virtuous causes, one will know one needs a healthy body. One needs good material resources around oneself so that one doesn't experience the coarse problems and obstacles in this life, and therefore one can focus on accumulating the causes that will ensure good rebirths in one's future lives. And with this understanding then, one will go about very similar daily activities. One will go to work to accumulate, to earn a salary, so that one can have a comfortable home to live in, and one will not be distracted from living in an impoverished environment. One will eat nutritious food so that one's body stays healthy. One will exercise so that one's body will be healthy, so that one can continue to accumulate the causes that lead to a good rebirth in future lives. So what we're seeing here as the difference is not that one stops going to work because one's focused on future lives, one doesn't eat because one's focused on future lives, but one rather goes to work or eats one's food or buys clothing with the understanding that one needs a certain level of material conditions, as well as support for our physical basis, as well as support for our way of thinking, our minds, so as to have the capacity, the physical and mental capacity, to accumulate the causes that will lead to good rebirths. So this is how one can go about one's daily activities, but with a transformed motivation, and a motivation that leads those same activities lead to far more powerful karma being created.
Dene enza da nganzo che di tsam gi digi juye che di tsam ye dunga se ge donda sam nganzo la mang che samlo di ma do che wa chima de che ran thu ma ro che sa dene enza di ya del ya che di tsam ye dunga se da che di tsam gi de digi juye ge samlo di khora di del ya nyen bo ro shima so na samlo da di me ba so ya le ya nganzo ge samlo kan shi tang gu re ani che wa chima la ngasong le me chik ta gu du sam be samlo ge di 다 체딜의 신비게 신바디 년보로 차고래 년보로지 지상 감수 콜비 동화들 가서 그래 깨와치만 안송래 타르지 사다 미고바 토고도 세비 삼로디 체딜의 신비게 신바디게 년보로 차고래 지상 디네 인자다 깨와치만 안송래 타르지 아니 사다 미고바 토고도 세비게 삼로 깨다 체디게 신바도 해게 년보데 삼로 가는 땅고 그래라나 땅아서 디네게 땅에도 땅보 저기 단주기 류딘 세야지 단주기 류딘 세야지 간지 라고스 단주기 류딘 뭐 손에 단주기 류딘 세야지 단다 첨보이면 예 첨보임 바 삼다야다 단주기 류딘의 톱고오임 김제 삼다 두 삼다에도 안 될신이다 될야 오다 되니게 예 첨보인자 될야 지 최진념의 제고도 선비기 돈열 칠게야지 차고래 네 디송샤나
The starting point here is to look with honesty at one's motivation, at one's motivating minds, and see what is motivating us when we're engaging in various activities. Because what we engage in, whether it's through speech or physical activity or what we're thinking about, tends to be dominated by the wish to experience happiness now, in this life, our wish to overcome problems and difficulties now in this life. So we need to see just how pervasive this clinging to this mere life is. When we gain some appreciation for just how strong this clinging to this life is, as well as an intellectual understanding of the faults of this, we'll naturally then be curious about what is the antidote to this way of thinking. How can I change this way of thinking? How can I give up clinging to this mere life? How can I change with sincerity my motivation? And that then leads one to engage in a number of meditation topics, starting with sorry, got that a bit wrong. So in other words, so here, having seen how pervasive our clinging to this life is, our mind will naturally turn to what is the antidote? How can I change this? And the antidote to transform our motivation is to give rise to a sincere wish to be liberated from the lower realms, to not be reborn in the lower realms, but to be liberated from the possibility of falling into the lower realms. And here, the strength of mind that is required is not just a mere intellectual understanding, but a transformative realization. So it's transformative in the sense that our motivation then behind everything we do is to ensure we do not create the causes to be born in the lower realms, but rather create the causes for good rebirth. And in order then to give rise to this antidote, to the antidote of the wish to be liberated from the lower realms, one first needs to meditate on the precious human rebirth that we all have attained. And the meditation on the precious human rebirth is through analysis to meditate on the importance, the great meaning of this human rebirth, and secondly, the rarity of such a rebirth, or to express that differently, the difficulty with which this rebirth that we have all attained was attained. So these are the 2 points of analytical meditation, the great meaning and its the difficulty in attaining this precious human rebirth. And this is the starting point that will lead to one transforming our way of thinking and giving up clinging to this mere life.
지상 되네 자 당한 쪽에 단적이 밀리는 뭐체 세대 간치 라고라서네 다 미혼바 계단 자와들라 안데 다와계서로 미혼바 계단 자와다 안데 조와 주다 덴비기 안데니기 밀리는 뭐체들라 안데 주기 밀리는 뭐체시고로.
What is meant by a rebirth, a human rebirth that is precious, a precious human rebirth, is a rebirth that is marked by 18 qualities. And these are 8 freedoms and 10 endowments. Or to express it slightly differently, a precious human rebirth is endowed with 8 freedoms and 10 opportunities.
다 최적게 상도게 리덴데라 안에 단주기 밀리는 거 치시고라 대상 아주기 리덴디 단주기 밀리는 거 차대요래 대상 가서네 미공바 계단 자와래 지상 다와 계단 덴바 네네 안 좋아 주다 덴바 차대요래 네네 상 아주기 리덴디 안에 단주기 밀리는 거 치사 차고래.
Under the Delta Chokye Nangla Kedankari Sigming.
미군바 계단 자와스데 다와계라 그러 다와계 되는 조어주 디사들에 조어주 여러 디가라 다와계 넘버겠나 접게 책으로 디사 나아주 리덴디 디차대로 다와계스는 미군바 계단 자와들 다와계라 그도와 얘네 디가라는 랑주랑 하다 현주랑 하세데 조어주 여러 디체도 접게 상태가 디가라주 리덴디다 접게 상태가
These freedoms and endowments, these 18 freedoms and endowments, are something that we have all attained. So the freedoms, also often called leisures, refer to being freed from 8 particular states, 8 states where one does not have freedom to spiritually progress. And the endowments or opportunities, these are a further 10 qualities that we have achieved. So there are 5 relating to oneself and 5 relating to one's environment. So these 18 qualities, 8 freedoms, 10 endowments, are qualities that we have all achieved.
데네게 나 미건바 예세데 냐와이다 둔로숨려와 데네 유타곱데 깨와지기로와 데네 상예예 까미야바 깨와르 직책으로와 아니 데네 원부 마상와세 지기로와 데네 록다젠세 지기로와 데네 라세릉보세 지기로와 내가 저기 냐와는 냐와 둔로는 말와가서 데네 록다젠은 말와 데네 가르소레 라세릉보는 하는 말에 라세릉보 말에 데네 가 저기 상예예 까미비 까불 깨와는 말에 데 상예 송취여되가 그래 데네 이제 하는 저기 저기 미콘바 계다 자와래 제가 디장한서 다와 계다 덴바래 다와 계요래 계다 덴바래.
The 8 freedoms that we have attained, this 8 states that we are freed from, is being firstly born in the hells. So we are freed from being born in the hells. We are freed from being born in the spirit realms. We are freed from being born in the hell realm, in the animal realms. So the first 3 relate to that we are freed from being born. We have the freedom of not being born in the lower realms. Fourthly, we also have the freedom of being born as a long life God. And then the other 4 relate to that we have the freedom of not being born in a place where a Buddha hasn't appeared, a wheel-turning Buddha has not appeared. Rather, we have been born in a world where the Buddha has appeared. The sixth freedom is we are freed from being born in a place where a Buddha has not taught. We are born in a world where the Buddha has taught. The seventh freedom then is being freedom of having faculties that are physical and mental faculties that are impeded. So we have a freedom from that. Our sense powers are working fine, our mental faculties are fine. So we have this seventh freedom as well. And then the eighth is that we are freed from being under the binding influence of grossly distorted views or wrong attitudes, wrong beliefs. So we have a freedom of being blinded by such a way of thinking that would close us to the potential of freedom and liberation that the Dharma presents. So these are the 8 freedoms, and these we all have in the past accumulated the causes for them, and now are experiencing their results.
Dene karsore ngazuge le 참배기 틱바 제바 많이 봐서 찍지 dene ane karsore 내래 대바 철래 대바 dene 숨나 대바 여봐서 찍지와 유정정가데 딩아로서 상대로 ngazu 미리기래 ane 유수 개바세데 상지 최여사 ane 최딩의 여사 개와데서 dene ngazu 되기되로와 dene ngazu lok다 karso lok다자는 말와 dene ngazu게 참배기 틱바는 제요 말와 then the
so those were the 8 leisures. Then the 10 endowments are divided into 2 groups. The first group of 5 is that of personal endowments, so they relate to us specifically. So here we are endowed with being born as a human being. Secondly, we are endowed being born with we have attained the endowment of being born in a land with a strong spiritual culture, traditionally called a central land, a land where the Buddha Dharma exists. And then thirdly, we have the endowment of having complete sense and mental faculties. And then fourthly, we have the endowment of being freed from having committed any of the acts of immediate retribution. So 5 particularly strong karmic actions that are experienced immediately. So we have the endowment of not having committed any of those. And then fifthly, of having a strong faith or interest in the spiritual path. That is an endowment that we too have attained.
Zambling delia sangye chogo chugu number tenje sangye pebache jisan demba shage toba zambling de perwa ane chue song ba chu gore sangye jumne de chue song yorwa chue song ba re da chue song ne chue de manya ba ne ba chu gore da de sangye chue song ba de manya ba ne ba ne cha gorwa dene manya ba ne ba chue nyamlin je ken yun nyamlin je de ma zo lobden che ken yue ba chu gore dene yorwa dene yue de ba re na dene 아니 저게 먼저 최제발이야 저게 아주 튕긴 두캔 로치킨 진다 로치 고야지 고고 디는 아주 내가 아주 최제 냠네 제알이 아니 저 도스전에 아주 소소사래 되니 차상 튕긴 줍되어 여러분 디네 자 현용원의 두고야 돼 차상 나디에 상되어래 제사 상기 패바 상기 최송바 상기 최내바 최냠는 지긴 윤진바 여바 아니 아주 최제발의 튕긴 로치킨 여바 생각해서 디는 아주 상되어래 제사 상완장 아주
And the 5 endowments that we can say are related to our environment or related to those other than ourselves, because the first 5 were personal, and the second 5 are related to those other than ourselves. So we can say our environment. And these 5 are that a Buddha has appeared in this world, and secondly, that the Buddha not only has appeared but taught the Buddha Dharma. So these are endowments in our world that exist. And then thirdly, that the Buddha Dharma is still flourishing. So it still exists in the time that we are here in this world. So this environmental endowment has also been achieved. Fourthly, that there are skilled practitioners in this world, those that can teach and guide us. So therefore, we have, and this then fourth in environmental endowment, we have also achieved. And the fifth is that there are those with compassion who assist others in their spiritual development, and who assist others through providing either material resources or through volunteering, that assist others in their cultivation through study and meditation, the cultivation of the minds of the Dharma. So these are the 5 environmental endowments that a Buddha has appeared and taught, and that those teachings flourish, and that there are qualified teachers and skilled practitioners in this world, and that there are those who provide assistance to those engaged in spiritual development.
That the samda jang the tenju milirum che said, oh, the nigga samda, the milirum is a top shot samda. That the nigga samda, that the nigga tenju milirum must a gay chimbo, za chimbo, dunda chimbo shuches, in big Gimzan Karalamna, the nigga out to Lutin della, and said digi said, Dunga said, and digi duya, Lakamochi to water, and Jala Pembig Mochi to water, and said Dele in there, and said digi shangy Dunga said, and said digi shangy digi to layer, and the Robaja, the Pandomotu to water. Dima said that said this and my Bakewa Chima, Tada Mugo Toyagi, Toya, and Gechima, Gewachima, and Shanla Pembo Tuyagi, Chicket. Kiawa Chima Hada Muko want to Gudige, said Dendelia to 2 water. That in Mazan Anzuki said Delia and Anzuki Yamden Cheche, Tarbada, Yajun Yamden Cheada, and the Nigi Chimba, the children Zeben Yamden Cheche, and Tarba top to Yagi Nuba, Tarba to Yakiwa Satuata, and Dimaze, and then Anzu Jam Nijikomji, Janchu Sem Yamden Chea, don't you to be Shara Yamden Chea, so that the San Yuko want to be Kuchaza, Satuya. Sedela Susuki Yamne Chumba ina, and Sedela Horonia, Anganzuki Tarba Totuya, that's Tarbuko Totuya, Janjusemba Chatuya, and Sanjuko Totuya, Denigi Den Cabrache Chatuya, Sedelia, Sedizamji, Gawazam, Digi said Dungasam Mayamba, Dingi Dewa, Tarba Tamji Kimoko, Toyagi, Susuki Mone, Dendelia, Satuyagi, Dendi, Nubayuti, Deneza. Yes, I'm just Tamjela Pemba Yashimu to Tuyagi, Den Nubu consider. Just a dinner is a dending on the meal, Denju said, Masiki Chimbojida, Zachimbo Shushi, yes, Dondachimbo Imbi, Jumsen Denegi, Bejo Chimbo Shushi, some do some diety, and the danger Dunchawa says some data.
The meditation on a precious human rebirth starts with coming to recognize what we have achieved in this life. The results that we are experiencing, which are presented through these 18 qualities of the 8 freedoms and the 10 endowments. The second part of the meditation is to reflect on why this rebirth is called precious human rebirth. So it's precious because of having such great meaning, such great potential, such great importance. And here we can think of 4 reasons why this life is a life of such great importance. And this is because in this life we have, through our capacity of having human intelligence and skill, we can achieve happiness and eliminate problems for ourselves as well as others. But moreover, we have the capacity to transform our way of thinking and to develop and lift our vision up beyond that of other beings such as animals, and lift our vision to being one of thinking far beyond satisfying our mere material needs, and thinking about accumulating the causes that will lead to good rebirths for ourselves in future lives, and therefore enabling us to continue through our spiritual progression to be of great benefit to others in our future lives too. And then thirdly, we have the capacity with this rebirth to develop our motivation ever further, and develop a wish that, based on understanding that suffering pervades cyclic existence and giving rise to a genuine wish to strive for liberation, a mind of definite emergence, and thereby in this life we can cultivate the causes that will lead to liberation. And moreover, we have the capacity to take that understanding and apply to the situation that our mother sentient beings are finding themselves in. And that their suffering is something that through our spiritual development, we can actually lead them to a state of attaining their own enlightenment. And in this way we can generate the mind of bodhicitta in this life. And therefore we can in this life strive for we can strive for enlightenment. So here we can understand the preciousness of this rebirth through understanding that we can achieve so much more than mere worldly comfort, fleeting happiness of this life. But we can actually accumulate the causes for liberation and enlightenment. And we can live a life of great meaning, not just in that regard, but in regard to the impact, the benefits that we can bring to others.
Dine zada yang ngaju tenju mili rimboche pe ma se nye top toya raya ya jewa lentuya la kale habore simbi gimja garasena ko tenju mili rimboche gyut saya di kale habocha de pe nga so tenju mili rimboche toya gyudi garasena churim soya churin namba daba soya de yes jina de ane gidi ala jimbe nyamne chia ane sebe nyamne chia ane zunju nyamne chia ane dine ane jige mollam gewachima and milirim was tawasho said mollam jima be samjao denichi kuwa just deni zanga zuge jina surum suya sia da ji jimbe nyamna ja sebe komi sia de kale ho shu chago res deni zanga zuge tenjing milirim was toya gyudi kale habore deni gyukale sa kabonza jeburaya de kale kabo chago res jina deni za diring nga zuge tenjing milir tobadi gewangama gi and gewangamalia and digi zuki gewangama digi surmiago sung and jimbe nyamna je sebe nyamna je and zunju nyamna je then azu daju milu tobar shose molam jawala dela dene azu diringi daju milu tobaresha topsha jaza deneza daju milu rimoche se top nyele kale hobo shure sha da diring denigi nyeba den raba na daju milu rimoche deji sheba na shin denda chimbu druptu yagi den chaba chen resha samje dus samdaya ding azoge daju milu rimoche da an den chimbo da nyeka wa samdana re dus samdaya de dine samdaya da garli resne ngana o da denigi denda chimbu druptu ya delya yoba delya deni denda chimbu madrupne de cheji majine tabmido che jegodo sambegi dine samno chejege donyerge samno dyumbadi shukcheba ki tureje.
In the 3 parts of the meditation, we've looked at 2, the reflection on what we have achieved, these 18 qualities. Then we looked at the second part of the meditation, this life's great meaning. And now we come to the third part of the meditation. And this is where we reflect on how very difficult it is to achieve a rebirth such as this. And this rebirth that we have achieved is a result that came about in dependence on causes. And these causes were very difficult to achieve, and because of how difficult the causes are to achieve, we know that the result is rare. So what are the causes that lead to a precious human rebirth? Well, they are fivefold. The first is that of ethical conduct. The second is that of generosity. The third is patience. The fourth, joyous perseverance. And fifthly, it's making of prayers to achieve a rebirth such as we have, a rebirth that is precious, not just a mere human rebirth, not just a rebirth not in the lower realms, but a rebirth with such great potential, with such great meaning. And here one then reflects on how difficult it is to practice to accumulate the causes, how difficult, for example, it is to live a truly ethical life, how to have a mind that is ethical. And we apply this, we go through this reasoning relating to all 5 of these causes. And this way, we come to appreciate, firstly, how difficult it is to accumulate these causes and therefore experience this result. And secondly, we recognize that having achieved this result is only because we ourselves in past lives accumulated these causes. This recognition of what we have achieved in our past lives leads to a great confidence and inner strength, knowing that we are now experiencing the result of our own activities, and we have therefore in the past lived lives of great meaning, and therefore we can be certain that we have the ability to continue to live lives of true meaning. And with this inner confidence then, we can continue to investigate what our actual motivations are, knowing that where we see faults in our motivation, we can transform this. And with this inner strength comes a confidence that leads to a determination to transform our way of thinking through spending this life practicing the Dharma. In other words, spending this life always motivated by minds of the Dharma.
다데네 니바 삼다야디 치와 미다바 해야되래. 치와 미다바 삼다. 그렇습니다. 데니게 된주 밀류를 뭐저 짜침보 예침보 토와디 다케지기지기 바지 지루와도 신아메게 마자도 수수치는 도루고 그래서 지난 치와 미다바서 게디 치와 미다바래 님이지 시에레스 저마도 마시반이야 말했어 님이지 시도 그래서 지난 다네 치와 미다바래 아니 될야 게디칭 해봐요 말했어 지난다 저기 아주 섬나려 로망고 되기 아니 지기 다된 아주 산인식이래 나인식이래 삼는 균이 후문에 로망부라 되게 삼다 체시래 딩고로 와서래요 되네자 아주기 아주 섬나려 가려서네 시기 말에 선배 삼로데 기디 있나요 지금 아주 내바깔에 하고라 셔베네 면주지는 자로 우리 선배 섬나 시기래 선배 네체 용거 말아 되네자 치와 미다와 삼당으로 어디지 치야래 님이 시루 그래 기디 시기래스 다시에는 다 쳐버려 선배 삼다야다 다시반에 기디 시기래선 다된된 해봐요 말았어 그래서 깽엔직 내 나서지 단직 깽엔지 쳐서나 남당 시루 그래 진짜 되네자 데모균이 미도아 진짜 다데 데모 매반사 시에기 깽네 망보래샤스 내기 깽디 용아래 진짜 되네자 시에는 다 쳐버려 지상 시에 다 쳐버려야 돼. 아니 그 디식으로 롱압주 제일 시기를 죽주 시기 기야탐에 제일 시기를한 딜랍투야 기내야 말. 그래서는 깽엔 두셔야지 쳐봐나. 아니 주위에 아니 지 가르네 깽다 말아 두셔야 쳐서반 된 남사시도 그래. 지상 그 디식 해봐요 말. 산이식 말했으니 하나 랍투야 말했으니 두섬다에도 되네 오 당해디 대중이 밀리를 못 짜침보디 나 다데는 최진 냠내지 마셔봐 있는다. 아니 디냠는 제 마라파라들 제마제와 샤샤바이네 아니 디냠는 제 마라파 시선다 배마스 경슈라사레 삼제 온두스네 아주기 치워미다 바삼 땅여도 디기가 긴고 연구해서는 세딜에 셴바디 셴바 도와서 어디 시도와나 가서는 개와처럼 매바 제가 말 개와치마 개와렌도 그래 지상 개와치마 개와렌라 다디 개주주 마두바이나 되네 유자라 사베게 개와치마를 파요 말했어. 지나다 개와치마를 야고 제사다 미고바 토야디 수준수야다 진배냠내지야. 나는 아주 쇠배냠내 전주냠내지야 되래. 지선 딩인 체들에 냠내 제마다디 냠내 제마도 바이네 제마제와 섬 되바 있나? 냠내 제야 마라바르디 시소바 있나? 딩아 개와치마를 가서 기도 그래. 제산 되네자 나 다데네 야 딩냠내 제오도 선비게 삼로디 전주도 숙체링이래서 제산 치워미다 봤음. 치와 미다바 삼리 땅에도 체딜에 셴비게 셴바디 아니 셴비 뭐니 냠보셔야지 참 치와 미다바 삼다 삼마디기 아니 체딜에 셴비게 셴바디기 냠보시고 그래서 근데네 이제 치와 미다바 돼야지 계치 모래지네.
Just to recap, what we're meditating on is cultivating the antidote to abandon clinging to this mere life. So this meditation is two primary steps. The first we've looked at now, that of the precious human rebirth, and that contained 3 points of recognizing what we have achieved, those 18 qualities. It's the great meaning and potential of this life, and then thirdly, thirdly, how difficult it was to achieve these causes. It's difficult to achieve this life, the rarity of this life. And now we come to the second main part of this meditation, the second main outline, and that is meditating on the impermanence of this life. So this meditation is of great importance because we find ourselves deluded by this misconception that death is somewhere in the distant future. And this is something that really pervades our way of thinking. We haven't yet come to recognize truly that this life changes momentarily, it's impermanent. From the point of conception till now, this life has changed momentarily. And what's important with this understanding is, if it's changed momentarily, it means it is impermanent. And meaning it's impermanent means it will cease, it will end. However, we live our lives perhaps with the acknowledgement that yes, death will come, but it won't be today. It won't be in the foreseeable future. I still have many years left. And we can see how true this is, that even when people are gravely ill, there is not the thought that I may not even hear the end of the prognosis from the doctor. Death really can come at any moment. There is still the thought that, oh, I still have time. And this great delusion is what keeps us grasping at this mere life. So the way to overcome this is through 3 points of meditation. First, to gain a certainty that death will come. A certainty that death will come. We need to gain, again, this is something that intellectually probably no one is going to disagree with, but it needs to be transformative. So one needs to engage in this meditation, seeing that death cannot be avoided, it cannot be stopped, our lifespan will cease. And the second point of the meditation is that our lifespan is uncertain. In other words, we first come to the understanding that death is certain, and then secondly, when death will come is uncertain. And here we reflect that there are so few causes that keep us alive, but so many that can bring this life to an untimely and unexpected end. And that this is something that we can see in the world, and we need to know and understand it in relation to ourselves. So these two key are of the 3 points. These first two are key to gain a transformative realization that death is certain, and a transformative realization that that time is uncertain. Because these then, in dependence on these two, we come to the third point of the meditation. That all that is important at the time of death is the virtue we've accumulated, and the negativity we have eliminated. With that understanding, our grasping at this mere life weakens, and we develop a strong and ever stronger wish to strive for future lives. So this meditation leads to an incredible strength of mind, incredible confidence. And this confidence comes about in dependence on this meditation, which came about in dependence on that of a precious human rebirth. And this leads to us striving not to be born in the lower realms, the accumulation of the causes that will lead to good rebirths. And that then leads to the giving up of clinging to the joys of this mere life. So this here is the actual antidote to grasping, to clinging to this mere life. But to give rise to this actual antidote comes about in dependence on prior meditation, such as precious human rebirth.
Shuba Najan, Sudim Suyada, and Jimmy Yamnacha, Subi Yamnacha, Jundri Yamnacha, Dira. There's a dinner that teaching about Yomar, she net Drosa de Nima to Yomar, just not also like the Gamat Shure, just not Dele Tau, Dendro like Yodu, some Ledo, Dendrick Gudi Carelana, that's I had the Tupsi, the Dirisha, just that didn't Dinyam Majaba, and Dendrick Gudi, that Dinyam Majaba, Dini, Jema, some loch down Durban, Yamnaja Marabara, the shoes on it, the name also like yes, I have something. Denigi, Chua Mitaba, some time, Chua Mitaba, some time, Drosa de Kesa de Lang also that Dendrima to your Mares, some time you do. Chisang on to Dendro and also let Targo water. Chisang also Tyler, Dendrick water. Dendrick water, you say the Carala, Yamnaja the Carasana. The Jimbada, the Nigi Samnaja, or the Jimbe Yamnaja, Sutrim Yamnaja, Subi Yamnaja, Sundri Yamnaja, DJ Yodu, Nanzuki, Settle Shimbe Shampa, Shine, do water, Chesa Chua Mitaba, some time, Chua Mitaba, some don, that said Dika, some donna, Kiwachima, Dendrick, Gudi, some Kogo Marwa, Chesa. The Negi Chua Mitaba sometime, Chua Mitaba sometime, Kiwachima de la Kielang also Dendro Niri, Chesana also a Tagudu, Chesan Dendrolia, Kiwudu, some Leon, Dendroli Kiagi, Tapshi, Mazu Kishu to Yata, Sudmusa, the Subi, the Dineza, Mazu, Sedile, Shimbiki, Shimbadigi, Niambo, Doya Delia, Danger Sambatayata, Chua Mitaba sometime, and some died. This some died, didn't Setelia, Kiwachima, Dendrol Kiusadi, Rashuki, Leon Liri, the Nigida Setelia, Dendruki Kiwasaki, Kiwale, Chisawa, Matukibejo, Kiwasawa in that, then Shina, Semja Sky Morocco, Carsone, Kamba Chignichi, Shalapurana, Chibara, Chibar, Kamas, Yomarwa, Teneza, the Lodibuchi, Resire.
When we reflect on the impermanence of this life, that this life changes momentarily and therefore will end, and we have no doubt that it will end, and moreover, that we have no certainty at all when our life will end, we then take the meditation further that when this life comes to an end, it doesn't mean that our continuum is severed, that our continuum is extinguished. We will take rebirth immediately, and where we take rebirth is only in one of two directions. It's either falling into the lower realms, or it's remaining in the happier migrations. These are the only two directions, the only two paths that exist. And at this point, it's very easy to generate the certainty that one does not want to fall into the lower realms, but wants to have a rebirth as at least as good as this. Here then, one can reflect, remind oneself of the 5 causes that lead to a good rebirth. So those of ethical conduct, of generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, and stainless prayer. But with this understanding, reminding ourselves of these 5 causes is now powered by the realization from the meditation of the impermanence of this life. Which means we recognize that this life will end and it can end at any moment. Therefore, these causes have to be accumulated, and they have to be accumulated immediately. And I need to accumulate them as often as I can and as powerfully as I can. And I need to do so right now, because this opportunity of this life, this is finite. It will end, and I have no idea when. And when it ends, my opportunity to accumulate causes for a good rebirth, that opportunity will end. So here, through this reflection, we give up very easily the clinging to the mere happiness of this life, the clinging to trying to overcome the problems and difficulties of this life. And we do so in dependence on the antidote of the successful meditation on the impermanence of life, which comes about in dependence on the prior meditation on our precious human rebirth. So these 2 meditations are what transform our way of thinking, leading to a change in our holding what's important, a re-evaluation of our priorities, and a complete turnaround in how we are motivated to live our life. And then furthermore, when the time of death comes, we will be able to pass from this life to the next with a peaceful mind, without clinging to the life that is being left behind. It will just be like moving from one room to another room. It will just be, and this confidence comes about due to knowing how one has lived one's life, knowing that one has created strong and powerful causes, so one has confidence about our future life.
디네 인상은 저기 주름 송야에 가상 주변하신 지난 개와치마 나송래 탈도게 삼비군에 랑시 아니 주름 송와이나 개와치마 하다미고 방도에 규차고래 지난 탈바 코월에 균다제 코월에 코월에 탈고도 삼제 코월에 탈도게 삼바게 다 코월에 탈베 탈바 토고도 삼비게 탈바 삼다제 주름 송와이나 탈바 토게 규차고래 삼제 탐지교도는 산유고바 토바 지긴 셈베 삼다제는 주름 송와이나 안 산유고바 토게 규차고래 지난 주름세디 가상 가상한 주기 되니기 굴롱의 삼비 토안에 주름 송야 직과 이나야 굴롱기 개시중 왕기 주름데 아니 지게 뉴버치중 개발 연구를 해서 가상 디슈로.
And last night we concluded with the first line in the 6th verse, and we spoke at some length about the essential, how that it's essential to develop an ethical mind, a mind of restraint, because without ethics, one cannot attain a good rebirth. But so therefore, ethics or ethical conduct is required in order to attain a good rebirth. Moreover, ethical conduct is required to attain liberation. Moreover, ethical conduct is also required in order to attain Buddhahood. So we looked at this in a little detail last night, and it was shown how ethical conduct is required as a basis for all our practices, because without ethics, whatever practices one tries to engage in, they will lack strength, they will lack power, and they will therefore not be able to attain the desired result.
토바이나라 탈비 고방 토바나라 탐지 김비 고방 토바이나라 그 주름 냠레 맞아봐 아니 토야기네요 말했으나 주름세야지 아니 냠는 인지민지 제고르디 맞아봐 토야기네요 말했으나 가상 디슈로와.
So all three of these Dharma results, these results of a good human rebirth, of liberation and enlightenment, all depend on the foundation of ethics. If ethics is lacking, none of those goals can be achieved.
나디네 자다디네 마 디리 사와딜라 체딜레 신비 추림데 아니 최유주비 자와제 디네 추림알라 아니 샤와제 추림델라 차도제 랑기 추림 모바제 아니 안간주주비 세빈제 아니 죄미 추림 쇼라 쇼세 송도.
Now let's come to some new lines. So we'll look at the 6th and 7th verse. So you cannot succeed without ethical discipline. As for ethical discipline that clings to this life, its root is in the 8 worldly concerns. It attracts accusations of immoral behavior. It makes you jealous of those with ethical discipline. It makes your own discipline a mere pretense. It's the seed that creates low transmigration. So cast aside the pretense of morality.
그래서 제대로 신비 추림세도 최규주비 자와신 생각도 지딘 최예 네 직녀 바라야 된다. 근데 지게 녀나 가와다 미녀나 미가 근데 소소미 녀바를 매나 가와 미녀바나 미녀바데 시바나 미가와 미 떠라다나 가와 떠라마다나 메레다나 미가와서 소소라디기 되스나네 직배 나게 가오기야다. 되스 강아르는 배에 sem보소 미가 째와 데니기 돈달이야 추림 소와이나 나 저기 체디기 돈달에 지게 체디기 돈달 소소리에 담년자야 고야 미뛰어가라야 된다. 소소이 녀마라야 돈달이야 이 추림 순고에서 데니기 추림 순고이나 니 안에 체디기 돈달 잠기 차고 제가 데니엔자 네 지딘 최기 온도 순고를 해야 되다. 추림 체디래 시비 추림데 최기주배 자와전사 디성을.
So look at the beginning of the 6th verse. As for ethical discipline that clings to this life, its root is the 8 worldly concerns. So the 8 worldly concerns, it's through having these influence and dominate our motivation, that we remain someone who's clinging to happiness of this life. So these need to be abandoned. These 8 worldly concerns then are in 4 groups of 2, with in each group one is one of attachment and the other one is one of repulsion. So the first group is attachment to material gain, repulsion for material loss, attachment to the pleasurable feelings, happy minds, pleasurable feelings of this life, repulsion to any feelings of displeasure. The third set is attachment to pleasing speech and repulsion to displeasing speech. And then fourthly, attachment to praise and repulsion for scorn. So these 4 sets of 2, with attachment to gain, pleasure, pleasing speech and praise, and repulsion to loss, displeasure, displeasing speech and scorn, where these dominate our motivation, that ensures that our activities are only motivated to achieve mere worldly happiness and to overcome our problems and difficulties in this context of just this one mere life.
Sudim den la chado shense ta sudim ngan la shewa shense du da so so rang ge sudim sun de cedi de ye tam nya ji din chüge wang de jebe sudim sun de ba yin ba chi la so su ge sudim ya ko namba da ba de ma sun a che ani sudim sun ge se ne ji sudim sun ge do ga che ani xian le ya a de din ya ko sun me de ji 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 de ni se ba xian le ya gyön jue xie da de ne ji sudim den la chado shense du 다 소소기 주름 소야될 베네 지딘 최기 온도 제는 세디 잠기 지딘 최기 온도 제 주름 송아제 주름 남바다 마송 미션달의 주름 남바다 송에 하고 쉬어베나 다미 델야 차도지 링구로 베네 표저들 하고 지시고 지금 안도데 남윤이 하고 지긴도 다시 제베네 링구 쉬야로 신네 미망게 어디 야부들 파는 곳이 소설에 있는 곳에 리기면 되네 차도 계지 미들의 지지지 야고요 말지 이요 말 콜레 견제자랑 콜레 강아지에 대해 차도 리고래지 진짜 되네서 수준 된라 차도 전서 시도 소소라는 게 수준 소야디 같이 최기 온도 집에 최디 온도 집에 수준 잠송 미제다 수준 넘버 다고 송요도 순간 될야 차도시기です 그래서 그 밑담년다다 야가 미 구글 망아지는 될야 차도기 아니 될야 지게 파 견제지야다 다마라 용부를 해시 수준 될라 셔와지 수준 될라 차도지에서
It attracts accusations of immoral behavior. It makes you jealous of those with ethical discipline. So here the text is now presenting the faults that come from having a mind dominated by the 8 worldly concerns. See, this leads to one acting in a way that cannot be called ethical, or even where it may, or secondly, if it appears outwardly to be ethical, because of the motivation not being pure, it cannot be called a correct or pure ethical outlook. And this is again because of the dominance of the 8 worldly concerns within oneself. So we can see this in, for example, if one acts in a way that generally people would say, oh, it's a good way to act. We praise others, we compliment others, we encourage others. We try and form close and harmonious relationships with others. So in the world generally, people would say, of course, this is a good thing to do. But the motivating mind is dominated by the 8 worldly concerns, and then this becomes evident when the person doesn't respond in a reciprocal way, when they don't act in accordance with our expectations. This then leads us to being disappointed. This leads us into feelings of anger or annoyance. This leads to a feeling of separation from this person. So here we see that despite one's behavior appearing to be ethical, the motivating mind is not. Rather, there was an attachment to gain. Rather, there was an attachment to receive reciprocal actions, such as pleasing speech. Rather, there was an attachment to be well thought of by others. And then furthermore, as we see in the first line of the 7th verse, one is very likely to have a competitive mind towards those who are truly trying to live an ethical life, who are living an ethical life, and jealousy for those who are doing so. So again, these 8 worldly concerns lead to a variety of afflictions coming, and such as being jealous and critical of those who are actually engaging in a sincere cultivation of an ethical outlook.
rangi tsurim ngoba chen nganru drupigi saben chen ane cheme tsurim shala shawaset 제가 소소 라랑게 송야디 추림 송세야디 아니 집에 지진 추기 온도스네 세디기 안담년자다 세디기 아니 가소레 녜바 닝고 라야가 돈달레 추림 송교세 직송가 지고마도 니 추림디 추림 남바다 와데 야고 차요 말했어 마차 완장 데니기 세딜야 담년자 요야다 데니기 착고 온게디 제바이나 데니기 착바게디 데니기 아니 델레테네 아니 만송을 깨게 규차로 거래지래 간주주비게 사변제 가서에 규차마디 데니기 추림세야디 추림 남바다와 말에 지상 개와체마 하다 미고한테 규차기 말해서 지상 데니 장 가선주비 규차거래서 지상 디 추림데 죄매 추림 소속이 주님문에 즉 야고 숨매나 숨인도도 제제 수리승인데 죄매 추림세 즉 죄매 추림래 제가 데니기 추림파 샤쇼서 딘딘디 데니기 냠는 제 삼다나 엔지 말했을 때는 한 소설이야 파요 말했어 제가 데니 인자 다 추림소야 될이야 도스치네 즉 야본마송하지 땀 지진 최기 어도 소아지 추림승인 도도 제 디제바이나 아니 네 야고 말해야지 딩하선 나서게 규차고 해지래
And then furthermore, it makes your own discipline a mere pretense. It's a seed that creates lower transmigration. So cast aside the pretense of morality. So what is being said here is that we all need, as practitioners, to take a close and honest look at our motivation and see how pervasive the 8 worldly concerns are, and what impact they have on our physical, verbal, and behavior and our way of thinking. Because, for example, if we engage in what appears to be ethical behavior, such as the illustrations just mentioned, but we are motivated to receive something in return, we're motivated to perhaps receive some kind of advantage, then all that we are doing through this outward display of ethics, and even perhaps what we believe to be ethical, is leading to our attachment growing ever stronger. And to whatever strength our attachment is, other afflictions of similar strength result. And this means the activities we end up engaging in just create causes for leading to lower realm rebirth. So even if we are engaging in what appears to be ethical conduct, because of this polluted motivation, we are not creating causes to lead to good rebirth. And this is why such ethical conduct is called here a mere pretense. It is not pure ethics. It is not the outlook that we need to cultivate. So this is what we need to abandon. We need to abandon this mere pretense of morality, and this pretense of morality that comes about due to being influenced by the 8 worldly concerns.
지나 군노들이야 세디기 디기 저기 지딘 최기 온도 진에 소요 말레스 지나 디네 인자 저기 개와 치마다 디기 개와 치마다 하다 미고 뭐 토야다 하나는 개와 탈바다 탐제기 유저에게 수름 순구에나 아니 군노들이야 아니 세디기 지딘 최기 온도 마송하지 아니 개와 치마 하다 미고 뭐 토되게 되니 dü바다 디네 탈바 토되게 dü바 아니 안지게 상요고번 토벌 쇼셈비게 안에 군노 자주셈 데니게 군노기 토네 안에 아주 수름 송고 오래지래.
So here we are being encouraged to cultivate, well, firstly to come to know our mind, to gain ever greater clarity as to or give ever a subtler understanding of our minds, and thereby, and through this understanding, to separate our motivation from one influenced by the 8 worldly concerns. And thereby we will be able to give rise to a genuine wish to accumulate the causes that lead to good rebirth, to accumulate the causes that lead to liberation, to accumulate the causes that lead to enlightenment. And thereby we'll be able to engage in practice that is not a mere pretense, but is sincere, that is genuine.
Cedile Shemba, Shembigi, Nyambotilia, and some Kartangaris, Karela, Naranjugi, the Shebanashi, and Denjugi, Luti, and some star, that Denjugi Lutin de Pe, Masi, Donda Chimbo, Chimbo, Lutin Delia, and Tarbata Tamji Kobantra, Tezan to two, Chesan Denenza, Kawasaya too, and Cedelia, Digi the Dumas. Sayari Truptugudu, Kiawachima, Hada Muko Toyagi, Guyan, Tendel Truptugudu, Tabatoya Guyan, Tendel Truptugudu, Sanji Gobantoya, the Tendel Dudu, Chesan Jamni, Janju Sem Yamlen Chiata, Passion Jugi, Yamlen Chesan, Tendel Truptudu, Deneza, Danjugi Lutin Pemas, Zachimboresha, Sambig, some diada. The Denige some dane, that Danju military top cover shure, Chesan, Kiawachima in Neda. Nimiji ngazo denig lutin thoba de nimiji shi rure ta chi shiwa ina trosa de la ngandro de dendro nyili de chisa dendro le kyo ngandro de la tha gu do chisa da ngandro de la mathana da thabme do kyo chima dendro le de thaba thoba chi gu do chisa denig inza dendri thoya dondalya an lutin chedelya an chi surim soyare jimbe nyamlen jeare chasa an du su yin samje jewa jeyage samdai de du che an dia an che juge kunol masona madale kiwachi malata miko batoya denige samda de da tada miko batoba cedele na sosoge ji nyamle jeare kiwachi malata miko batone nyamle je deni za shenle pamba juya da semje tamjige de sanyo go batoya da ani passion jugi nyamle jege dondala dendene chimatobne de digminu samje du samda jangan jugi cedele ani ji jimbe samda ra kechu juya 아니 되네 삼다 다 소속이 이제게 수부 최대로 제배네 어다 난 마음바나 된 지게신 최념는 제발라 된디 류된지 야고 고고를 되네 인산 리돈달라 하는 거 저기 소리 소야 돈달라 칼라 다이 사야다 되네 인삼나 양지 셴리에 팬버주얼라 류된디 야고 고다 셈 야고 기고 고인자 리돈달라 체디 동아세야다 강아 주야디네야 셴리에 팬비돈다게 인세비 다 군로 되네 삼다쟁아 저기 주름 소야 돼 짐베 냠네 제야데 디제야디다 제바이나 당 저기 체텔레 셴바 메신바 차르고래 제 메신바 메신바이나 개와 치마당 탈바당 자주심 육군롱을 통해 제바인자 강 제바디 데니게 개조 강주바 개와 강인바디 최차고 최수주고래 제가 데니자 니제야디 개침보래 해야지 나 돈달랑 안 저기 디리도 디린 기셔야 돼
To summarize then the essence of what we've been looking at this morning is that we need to come to recognize our current state, our current mental state, our current motivation behind all our virtuous activities, our motivation for our motivation in terms of how we express this life that we are leading, and come to see that our motivation, our intention, is perhaps not as pure as it needs to be, as we'd like it to be. And this is experienced through how we do cling to the mere happiness of this one life, and we strive to overcome the problems of this one life, how that way of thinking dominates us. In dependence on recognizing this, the wish to be freed of this comes about. And the way to become freed of this, we looked at the meditation this morning. So first, there are 2 key points. The first is that of meditating on the preciousness of this human rebirth. And that itself has 3 key points, or has 3 points. One, recognizing the 18 qualities that we have in this life. Secondly, reflecting on the meaning of this life, the preciousness of this life. And thirdly, the rarity of this life. And the rarity of this life. And then when we're meditating on the preciousness of this life, what makes this life precious is what can be achieved. We have achieved a life, an intellect of outstanding potential. We have achieved the potential to analyze deep spiritual topics. And this is something that is not widely shared. We have this potential, and we have it because we've achieved a precious human rebirth. And seeing then that this rebirth, in this rebirth, we can transform ourselves from living a life that is dominated by satisfying our material needs and our desires for sense pleasures, and transform our lives through transforming our way of thinking so that we are primarily motivated to, for example, accumulate the causes for good rebirths and not fall into the lower realms, to accumulate the causes that will lead to the attainment, the complete cessation of suffering, the attainment of liberation, and accumulate the causes that will lead to us becoming a Buddha, lead to us being able to skillfully guide others to achieve their own enlightenment. And all that is possible in dependence on this life that we have achieved ourselves. And then when we think about the rarity of this, we reflect on the many causes that were accumulated with difficulty. But that we have done this means that we have that capacity, and therefore we can continue to do so. And then the second key part of this meditation was to reflect on the impermanence of this life. And this has three key points. That, first of all, the certainty that this life will end. Secondly, the uncertainty of when it will end. And thirdly, that all that matters is how we live this life, which is to have a mind that is in accordance with the Dharma. So when we reflect and gain a transformative understanding that this life is impermanent and therefore will end, and that one can have no certainty as to how long remains, whether it's decades, whether it's years, whether it's weeks, whether it's days, whether it's hours. No one can say with any degree of certainty. And in dependence then on this transformative realization, we will then have developed a strong motivation to live a meaningful life. And to live a meaningful life through ensuring that we cultivate the causes that will prevent us from being born in the suffering lower realms, but attain a good rebirth. And we also have the basis then to develop that wish ever further and give rise to the actual mind of definite emergence as well as the actual mind of bodhicitta. So what these two meditations lead to is a complete transformation in our way of thinking. Not necessarily much transformation in our physical and verbal behavior, because I'm sure most people live an ethical life and don't engage in harmful physical acts or speech. But here what we're trying to do is completely transform our motivating mind, our way of thinking. So we'll still continue to go to work, we'll still continue to eat nutritious food, we'll still continue to engage in acts to help others. But we'll do so with a motivation that is transformed. A motivation that is not influenced by wanting to attain results in this life, not wanting to gain respect from others, not wanting to be spoken well of others, not wanting to gain something material in return and so forth. If those results are achieved or not, is no importance. What is important, what will be important for us, is to accumulate the causes that lead to good rebirth, that lead to liberation and enlightenment. And in this way, we will no longer cling to this one mere life. And in this way, we will become an actual Dharma practitioner. So we have some time, so if you have some questions, then please feel free to ask. Alan.
Geshe, last night you said that the failure to generate a wisdom realizing selflessness is due to the lack of ethical conduct in this and past lives. Could you just sort of elaborate on that?
Sure. So it was mentioned last night that it's an impediment. One cannot develop the wisdom realizing selflessness if one has not guarded ethics in this and past lives. Yeah. Dene dankon gisung today kola kachi sugades. Dene also dompen dakme tokbe set up de also kewa di dan wama sujum yapo masumna. Dene also dompen tokbe set up dup kimade. De kola tis mangwa sungrokna.
Yeah, that is bene sosugi lunga bene digwa janja kind of about share da mi go da chama share da dini share lu yu ko ne jige kuma ko ya da so chu be le ga ro mong bo share da ne samlo thon ne naksam ne sim che ba ne di se digi don da janya na sam da de go ro ma do jige ko tarba da tamji khimbi tarba thoyege samlo ko ko yo ma ro ba da din shi 지선 dini insan tarba thoyege samlo mo ho do ane 타바토의 귤이야 제바체야 삼리고 말해 디말레도 네 나 저기 동아야의 귤이가네 지금 그래 선배게 귤이 제바 매지도 네 귤 다도 좀 봐지면 다선에 되는 연구요 봐 하고 통고 말아 디하 먹어도 네 디포야기 년보다 가래 이미 제바체야 리고 말해 디말레도 네 다음에 또 통고 말아 나 디로와
When one engages in non-virtuous activities such as physical acts of killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, and verbal acts of lying and harsh speech and divisive speech and idle speech, and mental activities, mental non-virtuous activities such as covetousness and harmful intent and wrong views. When one engages in these and other kinds of non-virtuous activities or unethical activities, it comes about due to desiring happiness in this life, clinging to this life, wanting to overcome mere problems of this life. We don't engage in those activities due to having a strong wish for liberation. So here one sees that if one when one engages in unethical behavior, it's because of clinging to this life. One is not desiring for, striving for liberation. So not only then, through engaging in these non-virtuous deeds, or one creating further causes for suffering and obstacles to developing an actual wish for liberation, but one is not accumulating the specific causes required for liberation, and therefore one's not even going to come to understand how to attain liberation. One is not going to have the understanding of what the wisdom realizing emptiness is, let alone to be able to cultivate it. So it's in this way that unethical behavior serves as an impediment to the attainment of liberation, serves as an impediment to the cultivation of the wisdom realizing selflessness. Okay. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch.